I'm making this video to reach out to Colin Kaepernick and Kendall Ray and anybody else on YouTube that can help me in the Justice for Dae, Delana McKay investigation and civil lawsuits. On May 23rd, 2024, my daughter was found in her apartment at 6200 Hollywood Boulevard, apartment number 3313 in Los Angeles, California, 90028. We believe that the suspect is Makar Kirikoff, who is her ex-boyfriend and roommate at the time. They broke up in January of 2024, and he led the police to believe that they were actually still in a relationship. We know that she was dating her love of her life back in Texas, that she had been with on and off for over 3 years now. We know that my daughter was not suicidal. She seen a therapist the day before. The therapist said that my daughter, there was zero clinical indication of depression or suicide, that my daughter was full of life, talked very much excited about life, very much excited about graduating, excited about the poetry award that she had just won. She was double majoring at LACC in cinematography and English. She loved writing. She loved taking photos. My daughter was full of life. She was graduating on June 4th. She was going to Florida on June 8th to June 10th. Her boyfriend from Texas was coming to visit her from July 1st to July 14th. She was proactively looking for her own apartment because their lease was up. She no longer wanted to even live with Makar Kirikoff, who is the suspect for killing my daughter. We believe he's a filmmaker and a trained actor. And we believe that he killed my daughter in a rage of jealousy. He admits to getting in a physical altercation and a verbal altercation with my daughter earlier that day, just an hour or two before her death. He admits to hearing her talking all lovey-dovey with her current boyfriend, and he was jealous and upset about that. And the investigator from the medical examiner's office that arrived on scene did not do a proper investigation, did not see the evidence of foul play or domestic violence that was in front of her. She ruled it as a suicide, believing the boyfriend. He staged everything. He left the scarf tied to the shower rod. How can someone hold up a body with one hand and untie a knot tight enough to hang someone with only one hand? They ruled it as a suicide at the scene, did no proper investigation. LAPD did not proper investigation. They were just on the body cam. They are seen just standing around doing nothing. One of the cops is literally leaning in the kitchen against the counter with her hands in her pockets and her legs crossed like, whoa, this is nothing, nothing going on. The Makar Kirikoff, the suspect, had friends standing in the hallway. So there were civilians standing in the hallway. Lots of people standing in the hallway, just blocking the hallway. The LA Fire Department that was administering CPR failed to administer CPR properly, as the machine is saying, press harder, press harder, press harder. And the LA firefighter failed to press harder because my daughter was alive when they arrived on scene. They said there was a pulse and that she was breathing. However, they did not do proper CPR to save her, nor did they have an ambulance come to the scene, nor did they take her or rush her to the hospital. They failed to save her. They did CPR for 30 minutes, they say, of just repeating the same thing over and over, with the machine repeating, press harder, press harder, press harder, and then failing to press harder, which could have saved my daughter's life. So LA Fire Department, the LA Police Department, the county medical examiner's office, the investigator Bonnie Herreta, the examiner who examined her at the coroner's office, Dr. Hunt, he failed to put in his report that there was bruising on her body. And because they ruled it as a suicide and they did no autopsy, even though my daughter supposedly died by suicide with no one in the home, which means normally they do an autopsy. They failed to do that. And therefore when I had to ID the body, I had to look at her body and I had to do my own visual investigation And that was very emotionally damaging and scarring for me to go through that process. As a parent, you don't even want to like live this nightmare, and it's not something you want to go through. And like having to even ID your body of a daughter of yours, a baby that you, it's so hard, you know, to even go through that process, let alone have to conduct your own investigation because the LA Fire Department, the LA Police Department, and the County Examiner's Office is failing to do their job. And I had to take photos of my daughter's body, and I collected evidence. They said she died by hanging. However, she has 2 puncture holes that go through her body right about here, about an inch apart, and it goes straight through her body all the way to the back. And there was blood all over her back. And you could tell that there was 2 puncture hole marks on her body. And she had bruising on her chest and just lots of bruises in different places. And evidence of foul play, definitely. Evidence of domestic violence, definitely. The homicide detective Tamara Myers, after 6 days of me constantly telling them there was foul play, investigating Makar Kirikoff myself, finding inconsistencies in his statements, they finally opened up a case. But the detective on the case did not do her job thoroughly. She failed to interview the suspect in person. She failed to bring him down to the station. She didn't interview the person, Christina, who is his alibi. She didn't interview her when she dropped off my daughter's journals or laptop at the station. She failed to interview neighbors who have made reports, who have called the apartment security. There's 3 incident reports of domestic violence where security had to get involved in their apartment. They put in their report there was no history of domestic violence, which is a lie. If they had did their job, they would have found the evidence that we found. She failed to check his phone, to ping it, to see, because supposedly my daughter sent a text message to him saying, love you, always, love you, I'll love you always, or love you always. And they said that that was her suicide note. My daughter was an English major. She would have wrote a note. She would have definitely wrote a note to the people she loved. She was not in a relationship with Makar like he's leading people to believe on. They broke up in January. So she definitely would not have sent him a text message. She hated this guy. He was controlling and abusing her. She wanted away from him. She was back in a loving relationship with her, the love of her life. And so there's no way, she had everything going for her, and there's no way that she would have killed herself. She had plans for the future. She had plans to go visit her sister in Florida from June 8th to June 10th. She was graduating, double majoring in cinematography and English on June 4th. Her boyfriend, love of her life, was coming out on July 1st to July 14th to visit her in LA. She was proactively looking for her own apartment. She was so full of life. Everyone who knows my daughter knows that she was the most beautiful person in the world. She was so sweet. She loved nature. There's no way. She loved life too much. She had everything going for her. She would have never killed herself. And I am emotionally and physically scarred because of the injustice by the LAPD and the LA Fire Department and the Medical Examiner's Office that I had to go through investigating my own daughter's death and murder and investigating her body because they failed to do an autopsy. I'm still trying to raise the money through my GoFundMe to raise the money for a private autopsy. We've already had her celebration of life services, but we put a hold on her cremation because it's imperative that we get the autopsy. And I am reaching out to Colin Kaepernick and Kendall Ray to please help me fight for my daughter. Help me get justice for Dae. Please help me. I know she didn't kill herself. We all know she didn't kill herself. And there's either a cover-up going on, or there's just lazy people who just didn't do their job. Either way, there's an injustice here. And justice needs to be had. And justice needs to be sought out. I'm very emotional, and it took me a month to do this video because I have been so emotionally scarred, and even doing this video, I'm still not organized in my mind of everything that's happening and everything that's going on because it's so traumatizing for me and emotional distress. Please, I'm calling out to anybody on YouTube to please help me. Please share my GoFundMe. Please share my video. Please. We need to get justice for Dae. And if any of you are ever in a relationship that you find yourself in that's abusive, please reach out. Please get help. Please leave. Please. I know that Makar Kirikov killed my daughter. And I know that he staged it to look like a suicide. He's a trained actor and a trained filmmaker. And I know he hurt her. We know. And the truth will be revealed and justice will be served. So please help me fight for Dae. Justice for Dae. Please.